very serious about. There were people out there and are people out there who experience actual phenomena and need somebody honest who's going to come in and try to help them find out what's going on, rather than demonologists or fake investigators that are going to charge them a fortune come in and say, oh yes, this terrible spirit's here, you have to flee your house. We were involved in one case up in Chambly, up in Canada, and this couple was desperate. They had called in the Warrens because they were experiencing things in their home, and it was a family with 5 children, and they all fled the house because they had Ed and Lorraine Warren come in, and Ed and Lorraine, as soon as they got there, before they even entered the front door, were saying that they felt evil spirits everywhere and that this family needed to flee the house for their lives. And so they were staying at relatives, going from home to home. They were basically homeless and afraid to go back to their house. And they contacted Stephen, and, we told them, we'll come up there just for travel expenses, no fee to you. Just, buy us travel fare to get there, and that's it, which we did. And we spent the night in the house, and we had a psychic with us, and he concluded that this was a spirit of the grandfather who had passed in the house, was trying to get in touch with them. And in fact, the psychic felt that there was a book that the grandfather wanted them to read. And sure enough, when they went in the closet and looked all the way in the back of the closet where the psychic said it was, there was this book that was about their family heritage, and that apparently was the book that the grandfather was trying to get them to read. And once they did that, the phenomena stopped, and they were able to move back into their house.
Good.
That story sounds a lot like a case file from Ed and Lorraine Warren titled Policewoman. This case was about a police officer named Marie Bell. Marie Bell was an attractive mother of 6. People were always surprised when she introduced herself as a police officer, and not just a meter maid, but an actual cop. Marie and her husband Phil and their children lived in a rambling old New England-style frame house in Newtown, Connecticut, a town in which her family had lived for decades. The house her and her family were living in was built by her grandfather in the 1930s. The house had remained in the family for over 30 years. At this point, Marie got a new job offer in another state. Marie and her family decided that they would move to better their family. At the last minute, Marie decided to back out on moving away from the house because she felt like she could not leave her family home. Marie just couldn't make up her mind. Strange things would start to happen in their home over the next couple months. Marie and her husband Phil were laying in their bed upstairs when they started to hear a tapping sound on the ceiling. The tapping would happen every single night. They would hear strange noises like footsteps and weird, strange creaks in the house at night. Marie assumed that there must have been something going on and that the knocking sounds must have had some sort of meaning. Eventually, Marie would see in a newspaper an article about 2 paranormal investigators by the name of Ed and Lorraine Warren. And the article read that they would be doing a lecture there in Connecticut. That's when Marie decided to reach out to Ed and Lorraine Warren and tell them exactly what was going on in her house. The Warrens agreed to come and visit their home to see exactly what was going on. While the Warrens were approaching, the Bells were spending a typical night. Phil was in the garage working on a car. The girls were in various places at home and around town. And the littlest child, Tinker, was helping her mother with sewing and some occasional TV viewing. Around 9, Marie and Tinker were on the upstairs bedroom when they heard a terrible crash. Flying downstairs, Marie found her best china shattered all over the kitchen floor. China that had been her mother's. Back upstairs trying to calm down, Marie took Tinker in her arms and closed her eyes. Then a massive sound startled her. Half hysterical, Marie ran downstairs to see if everything was all right. She found more china smashed on the floor, and the family butcher knife stuck deep into the woodwork, as if it had been thrown. Tinker began shouting from upstairs, and suddenly Marie looked at the staircase and seen the apparition of an old man coming down the stairs. An ashtray started flying around the living room and hit a picture that fell on the floor. The picture was of her grandfather, who had built the home, Richard Jeremiah Stratton. By the time the Warrens arrived, the Bells were terribly upset. Ed and Lorraine Warren were as reassuring as possible, asking to see where the damage had been done, asking them to repeat exactly what had been happening, not only that evening, but over the past few months. Marie led the Warrens through the house. It was then that the Lorraine Warren began seeing an image of an apple tree and a little girl on a swing. The swing was being pushed by a tall man. Lorraine recognized him as Stratton. Lorraine, who was related her vision to Ed, sat down on a chair. Ed asked if the vision could provide them some sort of proof that this was real. Upstairs, in a crawlspace, a voice told Lorraine Warren. The Bells and the Warrens went upstairs to begin looking through a crawlspace in a closet. After 15 minutes, they found a dusty shoebox. After opening it up, they discovered photos of Stratton, her grandfather, and many photos of their family heritage. After they found the box, the haunting stopped, and Marie and her husband sold the house in 1971 and moved away to take up the better job that she was offered. Now, guys, that's the story of the Bell family. A family with 6 children. That story sounds a lot like the one Roxanne Kaplan was talking about. Roxanne Kaplan just put a couple twists on the story, like the family was from Canada, and they don't have a first or last name. But it's the same exact story. Ed and Lorraine Warren never scared this family out of their home. The family was being haunted by their grandfather that wanted them to find this shoebox in a closet upstairs before they moved. He didn't want them to leave their family heritage behind. So, Roxanne, I have a lot of questions, and I'm sure a lot of people watching this video will have a lot of questions about this. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. And if you want to see more content like this, we will definitely be putting that out there for you. Till next time, guys, be safe, and we'll see you.